All right, cool. Uh, all right, Shalom. Well, first and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And we are here once again, busting out the big jacket as the weather's changing on us, but that's all right, because we ain't going nowhere. Um, and so as you can see in the title, no, you are wrong. Now, I was watching a video or videos that Apostle Tahar had done. Started watching one from Apostle Gabar as well concerning Genesis, right, with Deacon Hakah and Brother Hassad, so-called Brother Hassad. And they're going into this whole thing about the Gentiles and can the Gentiles be saved? Like Shalamal, you were even saying earlier, they try to put they won't be decisive about it. And one thing when you read the scriptures, the way the Spirit of the Lord deals is decisive, right? So they won't be decisive about it. They'll try to leave the door open, but they'll still try to push the angle and say, hey, correct us if we're wrong, or we're just gonna go with what the scriptures say. And I forgot who said it, but it was either on the comment board, but somebody posted that. First off, they're the same people that came out and said that the words of the Apostle Paul are not the words of God. But now you're using the Apostle Paul's writings to justify your point here about the Gentiles, this and that. And then the angle they try to go with is because they know that right now they're doing a 180 from where they started, right? Because they even said it, right? They done debated people and gone into scripture and gone here and there to prove that the heathens, the Gentiles that are non-Israelites cannot be saved. And now they're trying to do a 180. So now the angle they're trying to come with is to say that, oh, well, the scriptures say that our enemies, right, are going to be devoured. And so if we can prove that there are Gentiles that are not our enemies, then we can show that some Gentiles can be saved. And like Apostle Torah was going into, first off, you gotta break down what is salvation. What is salvation, number one. And then they said in the video that it's not that they're going to escape judgment. They still going to get judged. They still going to be under us. But those that believe on the Lord and are saved, there's going to be like a different. In other words, there's going to be like some preferential treatment toward them. They ain't going to get it as bad as the rest. Well, the Lord said that He was going to have war with Amalek from generation to generation. So why is it then that the whole house of Esau is going to be destroyed after that captivity? There's some Edomites that they done treated you good. There was some Edomite slave masters that weren't as bad as the rest. They actually took good care of their slaves. You could say one or two here and there. So why is the whole nation of Edom going to get punished? What about the good ones? The one good Edomite. That's going to be the epilogue after the Babylon's destruction. The side story, the one good Edomite. And his followers. And these were men that were good Edomites. Wherefore it is said, the one good Edomite. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. That's fairy tales, man. And you're going off. And you know what? What they're trying to do, because they know they don't got a point, which we believe that they sold out. So what they're trying to do is, the reason they came to them is because they got smooth words. They're able to play on the minds of people whose minds aren't that sharp. All right. So what they try to do is they say, we'll go to guys like them and we'll see, because we tried it with Nate, we tried it with IU, ICPK, we tried it with these groups, but we need people that are more intelligent, that can really spin the words around the people. And they're telling you bullshit, but it sounds so good, it sounds real. So let's go to them and see how they come with it. That's why they come with this angle. And we're gonna go into the angle they come with, and we're gonna break it all down. Because guess what? You don't have a point. You cannot find one precept and then say, oh, well, because of this one or two or a couple of handful of precepts here, we can now overturn the whole doctrine of the scriptures. That's not how it works. That's confusion. Because how is it that the majority of the scriptures point to one direction, but you're going to find one precept that points to the other, so all of a sudden that one precept means that that's the truth? How do you explain away the other 99 precepts that are contrary to that? Anyway, yeah, you got something? Yeah. All right.
Just want to use going back to what I said earlier before we came on camp about how they leave like a little door open. They don't exactly say, like, they're not direct, right, with what they're saying. And I like to use this analogy. There was one time in the chat we was talking, and it was Aharon that was telling Imnan to explain something. And he used the analogy essentially of, imagine a piece of wood, right? A cylinder wood, and Aharon was telling Imnah to pretty much get more on point with describing or explaining something. And imagine like a person has an axe and they're chopping through that piece of wood. Now, when they're chopping through, they don't go, like 3/4 of the way to the left or 3/4 of the way to the right. No, they chop straight through the middle, right? That's how you're supposed to chop, right down the middle. And that's what Aharon was trying to get Imnah to do, is get straight right to the point, correctly, like the scriptures say, rightly dividing the word of truth, getting right down there. When you listen to them talk, they seem like, imagine again, like a person that has an axe. They're kind of wobbly with it. It's like, yo, control it, get a handle on it, and go right down the middle of what you're trying to explain. They kind of go over here with it. It's like, oh, well, brothers, you tell us. It's like, what do you mean you tell us? You're the one explaining it. You're the one that have this profound knowledge of, okay, everybody can be saved now. Okay, like the analogy with the axe, go right down the middle and explain it.
Yeah, they're trying to find a way around it. But yeah, you can bring out what you got, and then we got these other precepts.
Yeah, Khan, hey, Shalom, Yabashmel Shabbrakatam. First, we're going to start off with the book of Matthew, chapter 24 and verse 24. And this is all part of the end times, right? Because our Lord gave us signs to look out for as the disciples had asked him. And part of the signs is what we're actually seeing right now. It's crazy that these things are all happening now. And that Genesis group, we've been said that these niggas is agents. We've been said that. All right, through the Spirit, we've been said that now. We don't have any definitive proof, but the Lord has already shown us the proof we need. How much things do we actually have to go to the government and say, oh, give us proof to come show the people? No, the Lord already shows us years in advance, and they end up doing the same shit we say, right? But through the Spirit, I remember the first time I seen a video of that demon, Hakah, all right? And he's a demon, okay? Shaving his head bald, always wearing fitted caps, looking all crazy. And then Isaiah comes out and makes accusations saying that he likes his backside to be played with. So he's a demon, all right? But I remember him doing a video, and man, I'm like, yo, who the fuck is this nigga? That's the first time I woke up. I'm like, in the ancient world, you got people that do dumb shit, but you don't really know them or pay attention to. You just hear their names, and then one time you actually experience it. You look at now, it's like it catches your attention. That's what happened, So he's the Apostle Gabon had done a lesson, and Hakah gets up on the TV. He gets up on the YouTube and started. He said, yeah, I'm talking to you, Gabar. Yeah, that's what he said. I'm talking to you, Gabar. Second in command versus second in command. I was like, yo, who the fuck is this nigga, man? How you gonna talk to an elder apostle like that? Like that shit. I was like, if we're in a different country, bro, a nigga like that, you just be like, yo, let me go talk to this nigga real quick, and then you just put hands on him real quick, straighten him up, and then you come right back like nothing ever happened, But this is the prophecy that the Lord, all right, mentioned that these times are gonna come. There's a book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 24. It says, "For there shall arise false anointeds," right? False messiahs, you got IUIC. They got a whole bunch of false messiahs in there, man. All right, people that actually go against the Messiah himself. They don't want to speak his name, okay? And then they come around and masquerade like they are the Messiah in a way. Like Apostle Tahar calls him Bishop. What is it called? Bishop Bimwinkle or something like that. So but that's the name that he got now. He got all kinds of different names. All right, and demon. It says and false prophets. Okay. So these guys are false prophets. And the Lord, you know what he always does, and we always see this happen all the time, which is he takes the oil from you and you just start leaking. It's like it just you get worse and worse and worse. As the scripture says, wicked men shall wax worse and worse. Okay? And we're seeing it. They always come up, they do some shit. They do the whole Sakari split. We say, all right, let's watch and see what happens now. And then they kind of keep doing their own thing, but it's kind of the same shit they've been doing, debating all this extra shit. And then now we're seeing the true colors, which is now the Lord about to expose you niggas before he destroys you. Okay? Look at the dudes in Mississippi. What happened to them? They used to be on fire doing all kinds of crazy ass, listen, bugged out shit. All right, now what? The Lord just turned their whole lights out. Where they at now? Okay? Them dudes from the Boston reprobates dude, they didn't even last that long. They out of here too. Okay, so you notice the pattern. Every single people that come up against the men of the Lord and this ministry to try to teach all this bullshit, what happens? The Lord turn their lights out, and now they're just wandering about darkness. Just, out of darkness. Okay? It says here, and shall shew great signs and wonders, in so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. So in the minds of the elect, when we see videos like these guys are doing, we don't think, oh man, whoa, that's crazy. I never even thought about that. Wow, that's such a deep point. We don't think like that. We just think, man, what the fuck is this nigga talking about? It's just like clear cut. fuck is this nigga saying, bro? You know, and you just be like, where did this come from? You know, because at one point you were teaching the right doctrine, which is all what we know. And then now you're saying this shit that we've been fighting against this whole time. So now what are you saying? What are you saying, bro? In other words, the Lord has taken that oil off of you, man. You ain't got the spirit, bro. They never had the spirit, but now the Lord is making it evident to those who even can't see. Okay? You just hearing it. You like, yeah, these niggas is off. That's it. It's over with. And they go into this, all these, oh, what about Jethro? And I'm like, what does that have to do with salvation, bro? Do you know what salvation is? When Yahushua comes back, do you know what his job is to do? That's the salvation we're talking about. And who knows? For all we know, listen, the Lord could have Jethro in a different land right now, doing good by himself, chilling. All right. And then he doesn't get hit by the missiles. All right. And then when we get into the kingdom, he's just going to be a vassal king or some shit. Like, yo, we're going to have you have dominion, because they're going to have their own lands. All right. After 1,000 years of them being in slavery and the righteousness being beat into them, right? They're going to get their lands back. Now the earth is going to be renewed. So there's going to be resources all over the place. We're going to own them resources. So he's going to be the one to make sure that there's a connection between his people and our people. Get them resources over to our land. Get the resources over to where we want it to be. Just like they did to us through colonization. All right. We're going to be colonizing the whole entire planet. Okay. So these nations are going to be subject to us. They're not going to be in rulership with us. Remember, the Lord says that we're going to be what? Kings and priests. Okay. The first three kings of Israel to establish kingship was King Saul, King David, and King Solomon. All those three men were Israelites. There wasn't a different nation that came and co-ruled with us. It never happened. Okay. When you look at the priests, you had to be a Levite to be a priest. So that's also a very separate, sanctified position to be in. Not any old person in the tribes can't be a priest. Okay. You had to be a Levitical priest. You have to be of the line of Aaron. So even that is a separation and exclusion right there. How even Israelites can't be that. Just regular Israelites can't be that. How much more a different nation? So if we have kings and priests, you got to be an Israelite to be either or in the nation of Israel. You got to be of the tribes, but specifically in this case for the Levitical priests, you have to be a Levite. So what about that part? Another nation just going to find a way to get in. How about the inner the part of the sanctuary, man? Right, the outer court, the inner court. What about that part? You see? So what do we do? What are we doing here, bro? All right, like I said, this, like you said, Bukhar, this is stuff that the Lord is using, all right, to sift out those he doesn't want. That little advanced niggas that think they're so deep, they follow niggas like these guys. All right, they want to be debating all this shit. You debate all this shit, but you're wrong. You ain't got no spirit to be debating, man. All right, it's just a matter of time before the Lord turned their fucking lights out, man. All right, you got it, bro.
Yeah, man. And one thing I thought about too is how the Lord is he's making the divisions so much more apparent to where it's like Rakhtah, they don't see it, but they're really distancing themselves further and further and further away from the truth. Because now when the end time comes, when the final judgment comes, you can't even try to say that you were remotely associated with the truth, because the Lord has made it to where it's not like tiny doctrinal differences, right? Like you can't you can no longer mention like, oh, like these guys, they teach the truth, or these guys, they teach the truth, because the Lord has had the things that they're saying now be so wayward that it cannot be, you can't even say, well, I can see why or how you could get this, Now they're just completely cut off, as the Lord is doing. This is like the modern way of the Lord cutting people off, right? By using this spirit of delusion upon them for them to separate themselves from the congregation. And that's what they're doing. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. Okay? Because at the end of the day, you're trying to lump mercy and salvation into one thing, and that's not the same. The Lord showing mercy to somebody does not mean they're going to be delivered or they're going to get salvation. Okay? It's two completely different things. And it doesn't, believing in Yahushua or believing in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, if you're a heathen and you claim to believe in the Lord, that's not going to determine any status of yours in the kingdom. That's not going to do you any good in the kingdom. Okay? You say, oh, I'm a heathen, I believe in the Lord. Now, if you're on the soils of America, when the missiles hit, you're done. It doesn't matter whether you believe in the Lord or you don't. Okay? And number two, the heathens, as the Apostle Gabar said it, the Lord judges nations. Okay? He's not going, that's why he said he's not a respecter of persons. You're not going to say, oh, well, I'm going to judge all the Edomites except for 2 or 3, because they were the good ones. They treated my people good, so I'm not going to bring that judgment upon them. You'll say, oh, well, these people, they showed us kindness. Are they our enemies? Well, Esau showed Jacob kindness, and then his descendants later on are seeking the life of the Israelites. So which one are they? Are they enemies or are they not? You know, the Moabites, right? They showed kindness to David and housing his parents, but then they turned around and then went. Well, later on they broke free, and there was war between them and us. So are they our allies or are they our enemies? See, once again, you know they're trying a weak argument. It ain't gonna work. Let's go. What you got over there in 2 Timothy?
This is book of 2 Timothy, chapter 2 and 15, and it reads, "Study to shew thyself approved."
Right, and they study and they go into these things to build a so-called rep, and then think that off of the back of that, rather than that of the Holy Spirit, but off of the back of that, you think that you can just basically come out with whatever because you're trying to go too deep, you know. And now they drowned. And ain't nobody coming there with a lifeboat. You jumped into the deep end on your own. Go ahead.
Unto God,
Mhm.
a workman that needeth not to be ashamed,
Mm-hmm.
rightly dividing the word of truth.
Yeah, when you come with these wayward doctrines, it's like hitting a hornet's nest. And we're gonna come out in swarms. We ain't gonna let you get away with this. Hell no. Because you may think, oh well, what's the point? You know, they're not hurting anybody. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. What they're hurting are the sheep. Because you got people out there that, you know, they may not. There's a reason the Lord gave us this thorough understanding of the scriptures, because that way we can make it clear, you know, for those that are listening, lest their conscience be affected, you know, by these things. To say like, damn, you know what? Let me see. You know, I heard what they said, but it not that I believe it, but it just brought a bit of confusion to my mind because I thought this precept meant this, or I thought that precept meant that. And if nobody is there to reaffirm it, and that's why we have to constantly exhort and edify, because not all the sheep are on the same level, you know, and that's just that. Not everybody's gonna get it the same way as everybody else. For us, as the shepherds, it's already in our minds, right? But guess what? Why does the shepherd always need to take the sheep out? Even though they know their way, even though they've been on the path 1,000 times, there could be one day where they've been here 1,000 times and yet they'll wander off somewhere else. So you always need the shepherd constantly there to guide them. So yeah, they can hear this doctrine 1,000 times, but if you're not here to keep reinforcing it, somebody could come up in there, you know, in a conniving way. Because you know what they are? They're like scammers, right? They're like scammers. They advance with the times. Nowadays, scammers will come at you with all types of ways. They'll come at you with a job interview, you know? Say, yo, hey, you know what? You applied. You don't got to do an interview, but you got the job. What? How does that work? Yeah, you just got to give us your social security number and we can get everything sorted out. And give us your bank account too while you at it. Wow, I never did that at a job interview before. Yeah, this is a special kind of job. And you know, you're a special kind of person. Oh, if you believe them, you special, all right. And then again, they're scamming people into depositing what, $60,000 in Bitcoin and so on and so forth. So that's what they are. They're like scammers in the ministry. You know, scammers in Israel. Let me put it that way. And they come with these ever so wisely crafted, you know, ways to try and sell you things. We ain't buying those wolf tickets, bro. The Lord already gave us the truth. We already have the doctrine. And like Aharon said, you look at Nate. When you go back, the bishop, right? When you go back, you go back years ago, there's video evidence of him breaking down the name of the Lord. Then he turns around and now he's like opposing to it. So you look at somebody like that and you say, well, how do I know that you're not going to later on down the line, when we done followed you all the way to the edge of the ocean, turn around and say, oh, wait, actually, let's go back the other way. After a couple people done already jumped into the water, right, with the crocodiles and shit. How do we know that? Because if you switched up once, how do we know you ain't going to switch up 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 more times? You got it. Done.
Yeah, real quick. There's a book of Matthew, chapter 7 and verse 15. You talked about them being scammers. It says, beware of false prophets, once again, which come to you in sheep's clothing, right? You gave the analogy of sheep, right? But inwardly, they are ravening wolves. Okay, that's what these guys are. All right, they're looking for each and every way to create a new sect of Israelite doctrine so you can make money off of them. It's not because they just found this new revelation. It's just, let's create a new part that identifies we are different now. Genesis, this is what we do. You branch off of Sakari to come up to Genesis. And we said that this was going to happen. All right, we said this was going to happen. You're not going nowhere, bro. The Spirit of the Lord is not dealing with these niggas, man. All right, verse 16, it says, ye shall know them by their fruits. This is what Yahushua said. He said, do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Right? You're not going to gather grapes off of a thorn bush. Thorn bushes don't grow grapes. Okay? Neither are you going to get figs from thistles. You're not going to get that. You're going to get it from a fig tree. Okay? So it says what? Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit. but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. Okay, and what they're spewing, if you were to go eat off of that fruit that they're bringing forth right now, guess what? You are gonna consume evil fruit, man. All right, and what does that do? It poisons you. All right, it poisons you. You might not notice it right away, but over time you're gonna start getting poisoned. And then guess what? The rest of the fruits that's gonna be on that tree is all poison. So no matter how many you eat, it could be one or it could be all the fruits of the tree, you still got poisoned. Okay, I got this one last one, and I'm gonna pass it. All right, the book of 1 John, chapter 2, and verse 19. It says, "They went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would have no doubt have continued with us. But they went out that they might be made manifest that they were not all of us." Okay, so the Lord, once again, at the last minute, He will take the Spirit off of you and make you look like a fool. Step outside and expose yourself. Let the whole world know, where your mind really at. Okay, that's what the Lord is going to do, and that's what He's doing right now. And watch, mark our words. What happens after this? Destruction. You see what happens to the leader? Same thing's gonna happen to these niggas. They're gonna wax worse and worse, and next thing you know, it's gonna be some bugged out, outlandish ass shit. Let's wait to see what happens during the Passover. The Lord always makes His moves during that time. Let's see what's gonna happen. So-called 2026 Passover. All right, but you got it, bros.
Done. I think you had a precept and you had a point, right?
Yeah, it ties into the same principle.
Okay, cool. All right. Do you want to make the point first or you want precept first?
Yeah. I mean, bring out the word. So the word there in what's it called? 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 15 for approve. The word there.
Wow. The truck that we saw. Is that a fruit?
Yeah. The Greek word there is doikimos, and it has a little story here. Well, it's slightly lengthy. It says, in ancient world, there was no banking system as we know it today, and no paper money. All money was made from metal, heated until liquid, poured into molds, and allowed to cool. When the coins were cooled, it was necessary to smooth off the uneven edges. The coins were comparatively soft, and of course, many people shaved them closely. In 1 century, more than 80 laws were passed in Athens to stop the practice of whittling down the coins then in circulation. But some money changers were men of integrity, this is the point, who would accept no counterfeit money. They were men of honor who put only genuine, full-weight money into circulation. Such men were called doikimos, or doikimos, and this word is used here for the Christian as he is to be seen by the world. Now that point right there where it says what? They were men of integrity, that what? They didn't put counterfeit or money that was unacceptable out there. It's the same thing with this doctrine. You got to make sure that, again, rightly dividing the word of truth. You can't put out there, or that makes me think of, I always get confused. Is it Malachi or Micah with a contemptible sacrifice? Micah, is it?
Michael.
Okay, but one of those books talk about the Lord getting angry at the priests because of their contemptible sacrifice. They just gave whatever out there. Nah, you can't do that. You can't just put whatever out there. Think about yourself. You wouldn't accept just anything. So why should you make your sacrifice, right, this work that you do to the Lord, just anything as well? So this
Malachi 1 and 14. But cursed be the deceiver, which hath in his flock a male, and voweth and sacrifice unto the Lord a corrupt thing. For I am a great king, saith Yahweh of hosts, and my name is dreadful among the heathen.
right. So the Lord was not accepting a contemptible sacrifice, a lame sacrifice, a sacrifice that had a blemish on it. Because that shows what? Your lack of care for offering something. Like, think about, even with the present. Imagine you give a gift to somebody and the box is all bruised, the paper's all teared up. Somebody like, yo, what the hell is this? Like, what's going on? Like, is this for me? No, when you give somebody a gift, it's presentable. The wrapping is all nice, the thing, like they shake it up, wonder what's in here. That gets them like, okay, this is something nice to me. That shows that what? Your care for the person, as opposed to you just give, oh, here, just take that. Like, damn, you just go in the show, like, you even want to give this to me? Like, should I even take this?
All right. There's more than that?
Oh, no, that was it. Okay. So, yeah, that's just the point that, just that little story there in the word of proof, that they were men of integrity that wouldn't put counterfeit money out there. It's the same thing with this doctrine. You can't be saying, Well, what do you think, brothers? You tell us. You tell us. I'm not Slacky. I'm tired of these guys. Every time they come out, it's always the same. Oh, well, what do you guys think? Nigga, you came up with the shit. You tell us.
All right. Yeah. Hey, hey, you got a precept, right? Yeah, you got something too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 16 and 17, and it reads, Now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause divisions and offenses contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned, and avoid them. All right, so we have to come out and basically speak about how these other guys are in the wrong, what they're preaching is wrong for the sheep. But it's all for the sheep, because if we don't do it, then who will?
Right.
And then if they get judged for following what's wrong, then the blood is on our hands.
Yeah, I was gonna say that makes me think of like back in the day. You get a substitute teacher that's weak, soft.
Oh, shit.
What do you think's gonna happen? I remember them days. We ran through them niggas. I remember it was one dude in particular. I forgot his name, but it was the white boy. We ran through that nigga. He came in there soft, trying to be gentle. Or what you guys want to do? Nah, nigga, nah. Especially Jake, that year, them years, young and shit. Listen, we ran through that motherfucker. You can't come out here like that with the truth. What do you guys think? What do you mean? What do we think? You're the teacher. You're the instructor. Instruct us. Tell us what it is. You're this. I was reading in the what is it called? The Manners and Customs book, and it was the part that talked about Ezra and the men of the Lord or the prophets were known as interpreters of the law. What is an interpreter? He was working as pretty much the middleman because think about it. Why do you have like a man like Moses or people like the prophets like Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Isaiah? Why were they needed? Because not everybody could understand the scriptures. You needed that person to bring the understanding to the people. You're the one that's interpreting God's word, his message, and bringing it to the people. You can't come there and be like, so this is the word, but what do you guys think about it? You tell us. It's like, no, buddy, you're the messenger. Give us the message. Give us a clear understand what the message is like. What is required? What is it? What are we to do? What does God require of us? You can't say, well, this is the message, but what do you guys want to do? Or what do you think about it? You know how Israel is. You give them a little leeway, they're gonna be like, oh, well, we want to do our own thing. Think about what you mentioned a couple of weeks ago with Jeremiah. Oh, they come. Oh, what's the word of the Lord? Then it's like, oh, okay, well, fuck it, we're gonna do our own thing anyway.
I even asked.
That's why the message is always direct. Again, like I gave the analogy with the brother.
Approved again.
Oh shit!
Every time you mentioned that.
It's just rightly cutting down it. You don't cut like halfway, right? It's the same thing like when the young man getting trained for battle. They're taught to swing, right? Swing a certain way. Like I started doing the MMA. You're supposed to, they train you to punch a certain way, jab a certain way. They don't like just sit there watching like, oh, okay, well I see a hand kind of going down. Nah, keep your hands up.
Right.
Because next, if your hand go down, you're gonna get hit in the face. There's a certain way that you're supposed to instruct the person. You're the teacher, you're the instructor, you're the interpreter of the scriptures. You're supposed to tell the people what directly to do. That's why you're put in the position as a teacher to tell people what to do. Straight up. Don't come over here with this, oh, what do you guys think? You guys let us know in the comments. Man, fuck the comments. Just teach the people. Salakia.
Well, now they're teaching them what not to do. Because the Lord, that's their lot. That's the Lord, that's the lot that yeah, oh good. I was trying to see that. But that's the lot that the Lord set them up to be in. And what you were saying, that's really a psychological thing because interestingly enough, that's a big ass dog. Put that nigga on leash. Interestingly enough, you got yeah, you better put him on a leash. Interestingly enough, people are crippled by choice. Oh, you heard me. Yeah. Better activate that faith, brother.
Guaranteed choke.
Yeah, I'll let you do that. But people are crippled by choice, right? They coming this way too. All right. So people are crippled by choice, right? So when you give them too many options, they get stuck. So really, if you want somebody to go with something you want, you got to give them the illusion of choice. That's why these elites even do that with the two party system. If you come and try to strong arm somebody and just tell them it's this way, my way or the highway, they're gonna pick the highway, right? You tell them no, it's my way. They're gonna naturally want to resist. But when you tell them that, hey, this is what I'm thinking, you know, you can do this or you can do that, unless you got any ideas. When you say that, then they're like, yeah, I guess what you're saying is fine. I mean, I could go with that, because when it comes to choice, and they're like, all right, well, I need something that leverages me to go on one side or the other. I don't want to have to spend brain power thinking about the pros, the pros and cons of each one, and then making a decision for myself. America doesn't teach people to think like that. They're not decisive. So when they hit you with the, hey, you can correct us if we're wrong, or you can tell us what you think, it makes people feel like, all right, I'm more willing to hear this person out, because they're not coming at me trying to tell me it's this thing, this way, that's the only way out there. But guess what? If you're wrong, you're wrong. No matter how you present it. You loud and you wrong. You're trying to sound deep about it. The scriptures say that Matthew 1:21, call his name Yahushua, for he shall save his people from their what? From their sins. Right? So there is no room for heathens to be saved. Once again, you got to go into that word saved, salvation. Salvation is tied to an event that's going to take place. Okay? Wilt thou at this time restore the kingdom back to Israel? All the prophecies concerning that salvation, they don't include the heathens. There is no salvation. Okay? And it's damn sure it's not based on whether they believe in the Lord or not, because all the heathens are going to pretty much be in a similar case. They all go into captivity, from the least to the greatest. And after 1,000 years, those that are not Edomites, they don't get their lands back. So there's no special treat. Oh, well, you ain't going into captivity. You're only going for 500 years because you believed in the Lord. And then you're going for 1,000 years. The scriptures say, what nation hath not had a part in our downfall? Psalms 83 goes into the enemies. And then they talk about, and we're going to go into those accounts. Oh, what about Rahab? And what about these people? And what about Jethro? And he showed kindness to Israel. So is he an enemy? Well, if the Lord doesn't see him as an ally, then he's an enemy. It ain't about, is he an enemy to you or is he an enemy to you? The Lord is dealing with the nation of people. Okay? Guess what? Whether you know it or not, Jethro could have came back in another generation, and not having the relationship he had with Moses, he could have been somebody that might have put hell on Jake. Or maybe he had Jake as slaves just because it was part of the times and his people were up and ruling. You don't know that. So the Most High does everything for a reason. And just because he shows kindness here, or he says this here, the Most High is fair, right? But that doesn't mean that all of a sudden, oh, that's your sign right there that you get salvation. That's not how it works, bro. And you damn sure not the one to decide that.
This is the book of Baruch 4:1. I'm gonna read down to about 6. This is the book of the commandments of the Most High, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. So who is this is talking about? This is the book of the commandments of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, right? And it's going to tell you in the next verse who it's addressed to. Turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it. Walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou mayest be illuminated. So who is it? Who is in the book of Baruch? Who is being told to take hold of this book of the commandments? Jacob, because that's who it's for. Okay, you can go into certain. Listen, we live in a world with heathens in it. You're going to interact with heathens at a certain point, and certain of the heathen, they knew we were coming up, so they would try to get in good with us. That don't mean they're going to get a new body. Cyrus the Great was called anointed in the book of Isaiah. Does that mean he's going to be delivered when the missiles drop?
Right, he probably Israelite. That's what it is.
He must be a Jake, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, clearly he's a heathen king. And the Lord used him for a particular purpose. In the kingdom, he probably going to return back to his estate and rule over his people. But he's not going to be in the new body. He's not going to be in the estate of an Israelite. Okay? And the thing, reading is fundamental. And these guys, they have a fundamental misunderstanding of what salvation actually is. Okay? Having a new body. And then again, it makes sense because they've spoken against the having a new body. They don't even believe. See, this is what you get with these guys, a ball of confusion. If I'm not mistaken, at one point they said we're not even going to live forever. Right? But the heathen are good.
1,000 years.
Yeah. We're going to live for a certain amount of time, a long time, but then you're going to die. What's the point?
Right.
What is salvation? Salvation means you're never going to die. Immortality, man. Okay, I'm going to read on. Baruch 4:3, give not thine honor to another, nor the things that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation.
Hey, you know, I'll say this real quick. You know what it is too? A part of it is that pride, right? It's like wanting to stay. You don't want to get in line, right? You want to stand out, and so you want to start your own line because you know that if you just because of that alone, they're gonna go to a different store because they're like, ah, shit. If I want to go to this store and I want to be at the front of the line, men that were before me already there, so I'm gonna have to get in the back of the line. I don't want that. I want to be at the front of the line. I can't do it over here, so I got to go to the next store. So I can look at you like, hey, I'm at the front of the line. You at the front of the line too. And the way that translates is that there's only one truth. You just didn't get it first. You were taught it by men that were before you. So you can't stand out for teaching the truth because you didn't come up with it. It wasn't revealed to you, right? And you don't want to. They don't want to be in that position of like, oh, I'm just another brother, you know, who learned from the apostles, and I'm here to do my job and stay in my lot, and that's it. They don't want that. They want to be the Lord revealed this to me, Lord revealed that to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm also up there. I'm also a pioneer and a founder of X, Y, and Z. And so in order to do that, they know that, well, I'm gonna need to twist the scriptures or make it sound like I'm coming up with something new. Because if I say the same thing they said, there ain't nothing special about it. So I gotta be the one to show the deeper mysteries of the scriptures that nobody saw before. You late, bro. You're too late for that. And you're wrong. And what's gonna happen is you're gonna be wrong because you're not doing it out of sincerity of teaching the actual truth. You're doing it because you want to stand out as somebody who the Lord gave these deep mysteries to. Genesis, you know, we're the new beginning with a new understanding. No, you're wrong. You went too deep and now you're drowning. And we're just gonna watch you drown. And that's what it is. Whenever the Lord starts to take that oil away, the people who the oil is leaving they don't ever see it like that. To them, they think they now getting the oil. You know?
They're trying to go up another way.
Yep.
They don't want to go. The Lord clearly set up leadership. There's a doctrine. They received the truth from certain men, like the brother said. And now they want to go up another way and say, well, no, but we really got the truth. There's a new revelation. There's a
Right.
new breakdown. But this late in the game, that's when you're going to be getting these revelations.
Yeah, right.
You know, you got to, you brothers and a few sincere sisters out there, you got to have discernment. Because these type of guys, they come and they go. Okay? And we're going to see what's going to happen of them. But I find it very ironic that they came from the super hardcore Sakari, and now all of a sudden they teaching this soft-ass doctrine. You know, you went from polar opposites, so that's a very shaky foundation. Matter
This
of
is
fact,
all that romaine lettuce that they've been eating.
that's right.
They don't want
They
the
don't want the bitter.
they don't want the radish.
They can't stomach the bitter because this you gotta have a certain type of constitution to deal with this truth, to be cut off from the world. This is not a world-friendly doctrine.
Right.
You're gonna get a lot of love teaching that all the heathen can make it. You're not gonna get a lot of love saying, well, it's only for Israel, it's only for the Lord's people. That alone shows you the separation. Because they want to position themselves to be more acceptable so they can get more money and get more clout. And you know, more people can come in, try going into these Hollywood circles, meeting heathens, and then they gotta be like, you know, they can't give a fierce, ironclad. What you say?
No.
Yeah, but they can't give an ironclad answer. They can't give a solid answer. They're gonna, well, you know, the heathen, but they're good in certain examples and this and that. But no, bro, this thing is only for Israelites. And if you can't get down with that, the truth is not for you. I have this in Ephesians 4:14, that we henceforth be no more children tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. Yet, what do you think it is? Do you think that God is going to destroy us for teaching this? What do you think is going to be the judgment? The fact that we're this far in the game, you don't understand what the consequence is for teaching a false doctrine? That's lost on you. But you have all these deep, dark secrets of the scriptures, but you don't even know what the consequence is for teaching something that's false. Revelation says all liars are going to be in that lake of fire. Okay? Deceivers, fearful, right? You are quickly revealing yourself to be in that group. So they're carried about with every wind. Well, 1 week is this, then 1 week is this. Then Paul doesn't know anything. But now we're going to go into Paul heavy in this video to try to prove our false doctrine once again. That's nothing but confusion, man. And again, like the brother been going into, a teacher, a sensei. The sensei don't ask you, hey, class, what do you think about this jab that I'm throwing? Is this good? Does this look good to you? No, he's telling you this is how you throw the shit, like this. This is how you throw a round kick. This is how you do this. He's laying it out. And if you can't get down with the program, then get out the school. Right? He doesn't, well, I want a class participation. What do you guys think? That shows you that he's not really meant to be a teacher then. A real sensei, are you not a master in Israel? You don't know these things? You claiming to be these high and mighty guys that know the scriptures, and you don't even know the most basic of things. Like he said, Uriah the Hittite was a heathen.
Yeah, because it says he was a Hittite.
Simple.
But what about the Ethiopian eunuch?
Right.
What business did he have in Isaiah 53? Oh, well, I guess according to them, he was a believer. He's a prime example of why heathens are going to be saved.
Hey, what about Isaiah? Isaiah the Tishbite. What about that? He's known as a Tishbite. So what does that mean? That means he was from Tishbe. That's it.
That's it.
That means Isaiah is a heathen, right?
It was Elijah.
I mean, I said who? I said Isaiah, Elijah. I know we started crazy a little bit. Got a quick precept here, if you don't mind.
Wait, Salak, hold on. Well, were you finishing the point?
A little bit more, but he can get his. I was just going to say,
yeah, just finish your point. Then you bring that precept.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Uriah the Hittite, he's a Hittite, but with a Hebrew name.
Right.
So you guys have no sense. A simple search, you can look it up right now, and they'll say, they'll give you the false breakdown that, he was a Hittite, blah, 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 but they'll say, but he could have been an Israelite in the land of the Hittites, which is what it really is. Why would David would have a man that's this close to him? David was kicking heathen's ass, man. You think he's going to have a man in his army? Now we know that it wasn't handled right on the behalf of David, but the point being is that Uriah the Hittite is an Israelite, man.
No. When he went to Gath, he fell in love with him so much. He said, let me take some of them Hittites with me, take the heathens with me. I love him so much.
Yep.
That's what it was.
And his parents named him with a Hebrew name, knowing that he was going to convert, right?
Yep.
Come on, man. Yeah, I don't have no sense, man. The second he said that, I'm like, yeah, this guy's finished. We already knew it, but I was just confirming it.
Yep.
Yeah, I have some more in blue, but he could. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, these are the same dudes that said that they don't eat horseradish because it's nasty. They like lettuce and shit. So you already know, like I showed that example you gave, he's not gonna make it in no classes with martial arts, bro. He's not gonna first day. He's not gonna he eat a quick liver shot. He gonna be like, nah, this is too much. I can't do this. Like, nigga, bitch ass, fuck out of here, man. There's a book of 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 13. It says, but rejoice in as much as it's like a verse let me go down. Verse 17. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 17, it says, for the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of the Most High. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of the Most High? So right now, you see the Lord is, like we said earlier, he's using these guys to set a trap for those that he doesn't want. Because, as a lot of people who are paying attention to Israel right now. A lot of people are now tuning in and watching the Israelites and listening to what we got to say. You got all these skits going around, but ultimately the Lord uses those controversies to bring attention to the truth. Okay. And then he uses that controversy to use the elect men, the true prophets, to address some of these controversies. And by doing so, the elect are awakened by that. All right. Or confirmed or sealed by that. Okay. And then those who are not of the elect, they're marked for death after that. Okay. Once the word of the Lord comes out, it's a discerner of thoughts and minds and your innermost soul and everything. It cuts through all that. Okay. But here the point is, for the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of the Most High. Okay. So before the judgment comes, the Lord sets out the precedent. He sets out everything. He lays all the cards out so everyone can see it, because he's a just power. All right. He's a power of balance. Okay. So he brings out all the wicked ass niggas, and then he trumps them all over and trumps them, right? He trumps them over with the righteous side of his men. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you see that. And then after that, what happens is you see everything, all the destruction that we pronounce on them through the Spirit. You see it start playing out. Okay. But yeah, man, these dudes, man, it's just, again, this is just a same thing, just a different time. Same thing they were doing back then, they're doing it again. Always going up against the true men of the Lord, always going up against the doctrine, always going up against, the status quo. Okay, the spiritual status quo. And you always going to see that. That's the rebellious spirit. Okay. And what does the Lord do to people like that? He just kills them off outright, man. Just destroys them completely. Okay. You got it, bro.
Yeah, that's that Korah, Dathan, and Abiram spirit. Like you were saying, Lord gonna open up the earth in a different way this time. You know, and He gonna swallow them up. See, the Lord is long suffering. He got patience. You know why? Because the Lord knows what He can do. So He's not in a rush. You know, the Lord ain't in a rush to go nowhere. He's like, look, I already got. I'm in total. Look, one life hack. If when you move, like you're not like always rushing to go here. You look like you're more in control. You know, because you're not always like, oh, I gotta you all over the place and shit. When somebody's late, they look like they make petty mistakes. You know, your keys are in your pocket, but you're searching everywhere for it because you're all over the place. You know, but when you come and you just go about doing what you got to do, you in more control. So the Most High, being the ultimate power, He's not in any rush because He's like, look, man, all I got to do is I just got to give the word. That's it. But I need you here, like Haran said, for a purpose. You know, you gotta, man, you got you got a role to play. You know, and I need you here for that, and that's why they're here. And we're gonna go into it, and the Lord got us here for a reason too. You know, we're gonna do our job. We like the righteous robots that get activated whenever there's something that we got to be alert about. Immediately, the Spirit alerts us. You know, and we like, no, we gonna need to get into that. Oh, you say you had a bit more, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
we can get into
and that's a beautiful point too. You know that they, like you said, the hornet's nest, the killer bees come out, man. You know, and they swarm, and it's like there's nothing you can do to resist it, man. You come in this spiritual arena, you're gonna get your ass kicked, man. From the apostles on down, you know. But I have this Baruch 4:4. Baruch 4:4. O Israel, happy are we, for things that are pleasing to the Most High are made known unto us. See, it doesn't say it's made known to everybody. It's made known to us. We gotta keep our head on the swivel out here, man. We moving weird. But yeah, you know, the things that's pleasing unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua has been made known unto us. Where are all these heathens, man? Where's all these Moabites and the Ishmaelites? Where they at? They walk by us every day and they don't say shit. You know, because this is not for them. Okay? In the kingdom, once righteousness is set up, then this is going to be the end thing. Then they're going to want to follow, right? Then they're going to want to learn the ways of righteousness from us. But
they ain't gonna have a choice.
they're not going to have a choice. Exactly. It's going to be like, all right, okay. Do you get points for doing it then? You know? Right now on this side, we on the bottom and we over here giving the truth. They're not coming to eat of it because it's not for them. Okay? And this is the sixth verse is really the point, all right? Because he kept mentioning the enemies,
Right.
enemies, right? Well, let's see what the scripture says about that. Be of good cheer, my people, the memorial of Israel. So what have we've been hearing the Lord mention Jacob, Israel, and Israel again in the second, fourth, and fifth verse. And what does it say in the sixth verse?
Well, as a matter of fact, I believe somewhere in the book of Baruch, when you read it, I think at one point he went to Babylon, to the captives there, to go and read the one of the letters of Jeremiah, or some reading to them, and it tells you how they repented.
Huh.
So even the audience that are receiving this are Israelites.
That's it. That's it. It says here, ye were sold to the nations, right? The nation that you seem to love so goddamn much now, right? All of a sudden. Okay, the nation, the heathen. This is your focus, and we at the end of this current system.
Right.
Their system is all falling apart, and now you want to bring them in. Doesn't make any sense. But look what it says: ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved the Most High to wrath. Ye were delivered unto the enemies. The enemies. Wait a minute. So who's the enemies? It just said the nations are all the enemies. We were sold unto them. They are the enemies of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua and our enemies. So if you can't wrap your mind around that, that's why you can't have a fearful and unbelieving man by you in the spiritual warfare, man. Because this guy over here, if they're willing to have that mindset, what else are they willing to do? They start calling us black Hebrew Israelites all of a sudden.
Right.
He said, you black Hebrew Israelites. What the fuck? I thought we were on the same team. Now all of a sudden you turn coat on us, man. But that's all right. That's all right, because everybody's in their lot, and whoever follows you is slated for destruction anyways. Okay? And you guys have just been getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Okay? So clearly, we just read, we were sold into our enemies, all right, because the Lord, we moved the Lord unto wrath. So now, when the time comes for us to go back into power, what's going to happen to our enemies? They're going to be beneath us. You don't have a rulership mentality. It's like that movie, the Superman movie with General Zod and Superman. You in the Superman mindset. We like General Zod. We don't want to have, we're not going to favor the heathen. We favoring our people, man. And we concerned with Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai and serving him first and foremost, man. We're not concerned with the heathen. All right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Right. That's precept.
God, I got a quick precept to back you up, actually. This is the book of Psalm, chapter 83, verse 2. It says, I actually start off at verse 1. It says, a song of Asaph. Keep not thou silence, O power. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult. Okay? Our enemies make a tumult. When we say these other nations and we talk about these enemies, right? Look no further than the UN. Okay, we don't have any representation as Israelites in the United Nations. But all these other nations are united to do what? To build up a so-called New World Order, all right? At the behest of the so-called Jays, that's our top enemy, Amalek. Okay? So through the influence of Amalek, the rest of the nations are in lockstep to what? To rule over the whole entire planet with us in subjection. Okay? If they had it, they'll just destroy us completely. Okay? And then these are the same people we want to be join hands with. Let me tell you something, bro. You could say whatever you got to say, right? It's all good. But the ordained prophecy of the Heavenly Father is what's going to play out regardless. Okay? When we talk about deliverance, right? Ultimately salvation, to believe in that, you got to be of the elect. And that's the spirit that the Lord has to give you, right? The spirit of faith. The Lord got to give you that. So you could be a Moabite who, he said, oh, you could be a different nation that believes on Christ. Nigga, fuck you. What you mean by that? All right? You believe on Christ. First of all, believing on Yahweh Shai is a gift that the Lord put on you. That's if you're the elect. Okay? So how you going to just pop up out of nowhere? Oh, I believe and therefore now I'm part of... No, it don't work like that, bro. You could be converted. Okay? Like Hurricane is the first did to the Edomites. You could be converted. You can come in and, take on our customs, pray to our God, and you could have peace. Look what happened to the people when they were sent into Samaria, right? Because they were defiling the land, they weren't keeping the laws. What happened? The Lord sent lions up in there, man. They had to get prophets or priests from our nation to go in there and teach them the ordinances. Okay, so then the Lord's like, all right, now I've appeased my wrath. I'm gonna stop the lions from coming after you niggas. Okay, but that's just because they are practicing our laws and our customs does not make them Israelites. Okay, it doesn't make them Israelite. It just means that you just in our land and you're gonna keep our ordinances because you in our land. Basically, like you come to America, right? You might be a Muslim, but when you come to America, you gotta abide by American laws. Okay, because it's the law of the land. That's just how the people govern themselves. You might have your own laws in your own land. That's fine. But when you come over here, you got to do as the Americans do in the sense of following their laws. You can't say, oh, you know what? Over there in Ishmael land, you know what I'm saying? If a whore or if a daughter commits, adultery, we're going to stone her ass. Okay, you could do that over there. But if you come over here and you try that shit, your ass is going to be in jail, nigga, in prison. All right? So you have to abide by the laws. It does not make you a freaking Edomite because you practice American law, because Americans are Edomites for the most part, like the actual, Americans like Edom. You see what I'm saying? The founding fathers and so on and so forth. Okay. They set up the system for them. All right. So let's continue here. Going back to Psalm 83 and verse 2, it says, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, all right, an uproar, and they that hate thee, right, hate thee, have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. Okay. They hate us so much. They hate our Heavenly Father. They hate our laws. They hate everything about us. So they've taken crafty counsel. Okay. Against thy people and consulted against thine hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. This is what the enemies are planning to do. How then do you turn around and say they can be saved, or they're not gonna get no brunt of the punishment? The brunt of the punishment, they're gonna be all right. Oh, as long as they repent, they're gonna be saved too. Who the fuck? Where are you getting this from? And why are you saying that? You got it, bro.
Since you said that, actually, what's it called? The Lord told the Lord told Saul to go and slay all the Amalekites in the land. because of what they did when we try to come into the land. Now, was it what about the baby, the infant, the little infant Edomite, Amalekite that was in their crate somewhere when the rest of the people were stopping us from coming through the land? Or when they came out to fight against us? Because it wasn't everybody that came out to fight against us. They had boys, they had children, they had women, they had old folks in there. So why did the Lord then say, slay all of them? And as a matter of fact, this is generations later. You know, you could say that it wasn't the same exact Edomites that were fighting against us. So why did the Lord say go and slay all of them? What happened to that? You know, what happened to the innocent ones in there who weren't coming out to attack us? Were they our enemies? Because clearly the Lord saw that. So he was so mad that because of that, Saul lost what he lost because he disobeyed the Lord. So what's going on there? What happened to the little children? Were they our enemies? And if they weren't, why did the Lord want them slain? Wait, whoa. What happened to the Amorites that were in the land when the Lord said we should go and slay all of them with the edge of the sword? And he said both man, woman, children, suckling. You know what a suckling is? That's a baby that's still sucking on the breast. And it says slay them with the edge of the sword and then burn their towns. Wait, were they our enemies? What happened with that?
Precept.
Oh, we all got precepts. Bring them out.
Psalm, in reference to what you said, Psalms 137 and 8. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones.
But it wasn't every Edomite that did it. So why did little ones got to pay for it? You know, there were some Edomites that were good to me. Oh, Massa, I love you, Massa. You're good to me, Massa. Right? So what happened to the one good old Edomite that said, this is wrong? You got Edomites today that will go and protest with Jacob and say, no, this is wrong. You cannot have this oppression upon these people, that these poor people here and there, they're sympathizers, you could say, right? Right. So why their little ones gotta get dashed? You think the Most High cares about that? The Most High knows the spirit within, and what that means is, given the right opportunity, they do what they got to do. Trust and believe that. So people move under certain circumstances. What you think, Rahab, after hearing the things that they heard about the God of Israel, she was gonna say, "Nah, after I'm gonna betray you"? Come on, man. They move according to the times because they're not dumb. You know, they know. Oh well, shit. I have a better chance. Why do you think the Gibeonites came and made that league with us? Because they said we got a better chance with them. So let's deceive them. So once they make that oath, we good. At that point, it don't matter what's going on. We good. Why was that? You know,
Solomon had allies of the heathen. You know, he had certain men that he made alliances with, but they were all under him.
All right.
You know, as subordinates, but he will have like, what's his name, Hiram Abiff. Okay, but it was a mutually beneficial situation. Okay, and that was in that time. Now the kingdom that we have, we're gonna be able to rule with a rod of iron and righteousness, to where they're gonna have. It ain't gonna be like, listen, it's no, like you gonna serve, you gonna serve, and that's what it's gonna be. All right.
hey,
And,
well, Lucky, this guy, the Ammonites. David said, "Oh, I'm a what's his name? Was in the Hush." Where he said, oh, his father showed me kindness, so his father's dead. Let me send messages to go and console and so on and so forth. Well, at that point, you would say they weren't enemies. But what did he do? He embarrassed them, cut off their beard, cut off their garment, and then, as it says, they stunk before Israel. So they had a bad taste, and then we went to war with them. And then we did what we had to do. So what happened to the friendship? What happened to the alliance? What happened to all the non-enemies we had in the past? What happened to that now? You got it,
the
bro.
Lord is looking at the entire timeline. He's not just we're not just honing in on one instance,
Right.
because okay, if you do something good for me today, and then tomorrow you go and betray my ass, what was all the good that you did for me? It was nothing. It's just like a parent, and just like you guys being false teachers. You got to feed sheep constantly, man. Being a parent, it's not good enough to say, well, I've been a parent for this many years. I'm checking out now. That was good enough, right? I was a parent for 7 years. That's a long time. I was a parent for this many years. I was a teacher for this many years. Well, that was good enough. I'm gonna check out now. No, you have to consistently do these things.
Right.
All right. Just like with the heathen, certain times in history, yeah, we will be on good terms with them. Jacob even hugged Esau.
Right.
Okay. But what ended up happening later on? We know the whole story. You can't just focus in on one part and not give the context of everything that's happened. The Lord is looking at the whole timeline. He's not just oh well, you know, Esau actually hugged Jacob. So Esau's good now, right? No, you idiot. He's looking at the whole timeline. Now look what Esau and his descendants did to us throughout time. Completely destroyed us, man.
you know, raped our men, women, and children, separated our families, man. You see, can Hassad stomach a scripture like this that we're gonna dash the little ones against the stone?
No, no, it ain't talking. It's talking about their idols. They ain't talking about their babies.
Yeah, that's
That's
probably what
he
he
gonna
would
come back.
say.
Yeah, that's what he gonna
He
come
would
back.
say that.
And guess what? The Lord said, "He that believeth on me, the same shall be saved." Right. So what happens to people that believed upon the Lord in the ancient times, but now they're doing wickedness in their generations after that? Which one does the Lord take? Did He say that because you believed on me in one time when you came on the planet Earth, that's enough for your salvation? Or does He say, well, you believed on me at one point, but then you turned around and you went backsliding, so now you're going to be destroyed? So which one is it? And likewise, you were okay. You showed us kindness at one point, but does that mean that the whole entire time that your spirit has come back on the earth again and again and again, you've always been kind to us? So what's the Lord going to take? You know, what's He going to look at it and say, all right, well, I'm going to judge you based on this, that, and the third. Oh, because the Edomite gave you I don't know, some yogurt on the Tuesday at work because you didn't bring your lunch. The Lord says, okay, now he's going to be all right. But then meanwhile, the next week after that, he got you fired by telling a lie about you. So which one is the Lord going to take? Because you did show kindness, because you're pointing to one instance and saying, oh, see, where they are enemies. But wait, what about all the other instances? So that's the fallacy. You know what they are? They're edge case Israelites, because they'll look for the the one time when there's an edge case, and then they'll try to normalize that and say, oh, we can build our foundation off of this. Wait, so what about the let's say you had a Midianites, right? The Midianites put us in freaking they came against us during the time of the judges. But you'll say, oh, well, if these people are from the Midianites and they showed us kindness, then does that mean the Midianites are not our enemies? Come on, man. You got it, bro.
And what you said before, Ezekiel mentions that when a just man does, when he goes off and he does wickedness, all of the things that he's done is forgotten after that point. You see? So this is the thing of consistency. And time reveals all, man. See, y'all niggas probably the type of Edomite smiles at you at the store and be like, he's my friend. You know, I'm cool with him. Just because the Edomite try to, you know, Edomites do that type of shit, man. They're snakes. They're deceivers. They smile in your face and then behind your back, they're going to try to still destroy you. In his mind, he hates you still. But because he smiled in your face, that's good enough, right? That's why you got to have a spiritual mind in this thing. You got to have a discerning mind. And we go to places and deal with heathen, and hey, we can in certain situations you get along with them. You know, you might have to work with them at the job, and you just keep it surface level. When we get into the deep part, you start breaking down this doctrine. Are they gonna still be cool with you?
Right.
You're gonna be my slave. You cool with that?
Oh, the cops on you.
Then all them smiles gonna turn to frowns.
Oh, I was going to read this comment that the Quran put. Stay in the Spirit 144. He said, well, according to them, the lake of fire is in America. So not only is the heathen are able to be saved, but also America won't be destroyed. So there is no vengeance actually to be taken on our adversaries. Yeah, according to the logic that they're coming with, and that's why it doesn't make sense, because it breaks down. When you try to test that against all the other parts of the scriptures, it doesn't stand the test. It breaks down every time. That's why I call them edge case Israelites, because the edge case is a one off, you know, and a one off is not the norm, you know. Yeah, it may happen here and there, okay, but look, you may have a heathen that says, "Yo, I believe in your God." They said Jethro offered onto the Lord, and then the Israelites ate with him. So didn't the Lord come to Moses, since he spoke to Moses face to face, and tell him, hey, that's your enemy that you're eating with over there? Well, guess what? Alexander also offered sacrifices. When it says that somebody offered sacrifice, obviously only the priest could actually do the physical offering. But what it means is there was an offering in your name, meaning you brought the offering, like, I offer this to the Lord for me on my behalf.
You're paying homage.
Yeah, exactly. You paid homage. And that was like a peace offering, which is where you would offer it, the priests would get their portion, and the people would eat of the offering that they gave unto the Lord. Guess what? Alexander did that. You know? So what's going on there? Does that mean that he's going to be delivered? It says that after him, his descendants, wickedness multiplied upon the face of the earth. And Alexander was an Edomite. And all the Edomites are going to be destroyed. So why would the Lord accept it? And matter of fact, why did the Lord show him in the vision Israel before he got to the land? You know, What's up with that? See, edge case Israelites. They try to find one little instance here. Oh, look, see, the Lord said that Abimelech, the Ethiopian, he was a heathen, and the Lord said, "I will save you." And it's very interesting because he said, I bet a lot of you people ain't even read this chapter before, as though he had all the context in the world. I just went through Jeremiah. I got the context, and he wasn't talking about salvation. So because the Lord said that, we're gonna see a Abimelech on the chariot. Now, if he's an Israelite who was just from the land of Ethiopia and he's a righteous man of the elect, then yeah. But based on that precept, that's not what it says. Okay, how many people? Like I was telling Haran before, when you read in that same book of Jeremiah, the Lord mentioned in one of the chapters, he likened Israel into two baskets of figs, and one was so bad that you couldn't even eat it, and one was good. Naughty figs, so bad you couldn't eat them. Wherefore it said, naughty figs, so bad you couldn't eat them. So, so he said the Israelites that were taken out of the land to Babylon were like the good figs, and the ones that were left in there were like the naughty figs, right? And the naughty figs are going to be destroyed. Well, guess what? Not all the Israelites that were in the naughty figs basket were destroyed. And you had Israelites that were in Babylon doing wickedness. Who do you think Ezekiel was prophesying against over there? So when they try to take that and say, oh, well, because this one instance here, that means everything is all good. That's not how it works, man. And you should know better. You should have known that wasn't going to fly. But the Lord did that to show that he's taking his oil away from you. That's why the Lord, because now we're going to look at you and say, damn, we thought you were on a level, but for you to believe something like that and to come and try to teach it, you basically brought yourself down. You've lost credits. You've lost respect. You've lost all that. Not that you had any to begin with.
At least you were teaching that we're Israel, that we're the Israelites and that salvation is for us.
Might not be for long.
Yeah, and now let's see how long that lasts.
All right.
Because they were still pushing that. They want to straddle the line, a little here, a little there. But this dude, again, referencing what you mentioned earlier, they want to be like the guy that has the secret. He said, oh, yeah, I bet y'all never heard this chapter before. Listen, bro, we read the chapter and you're wrong, okay?
Exactly.
Going into the chapter, we go into Jeremiah all the time, bro. We're going to Jeremiah like damn near every week.
Yep.
So we read it and you're not correct in your understanding of it. You can bring out the account, but what does it mean?
Right.
You see? So, but that was it, and they're preying on people's ignorance because Jake that doesn't know. Oh, I've never heard Jeremiah 38. Well, so he's the one to teach. He's the one to mold your mind. So they have to play on ignorance because they just want new followers and blind followers. And we're the biggest problem for guys like that because we have the true understanding and bringing Israel into the knowledge of wisdom and understanding. We're not about making money. We're gonna give it to you raw, regardless, man, because we don't stand to gain anything worldly from. We don't care about it.
Right.
We don't care about those things that these guys will. Their doctrine is malleable. They'll bend it around to make it more acceptable to people. But us here, from the apostles on down, the brothers that have the true doctrine, we don't give a damn. All right, so we're gonna give it to you 100% raw, no chaser, man.
You got that? Yeah, Joshua. Because we're gonna go into it, right? We're gonna go into it. You mentioned the account, so let's go and read it. And let's see, maybe we missed something. Maybe you gotta show us a little sign because we might have missed it when we read it.
Joshua chapter 2, verse 1. And Joshua the son of Nun sent out of Shittim 2 men to spy secretly, saying, go view the land, even Jericho. And they went and came into an harlot's house named Rahab and lodged there. And was told the king of Jericho, saying, behold, there came in men hither tonight of the children of Israel to search out the country.
Mm-hmm.
And the king of Jericho sent unto Rahab, saying, bring forth the men that are come to thee.
So they spotted them. So more than likely, Rahab, her dwelling was probably around the entrance. So it's probably one of the first places where it was easier for them to lodge over there. Okay, so word got to the king that there's some spies that came up in here. He said, all right, well where are they? Oh, we saw them go to Rahab's place. So let's go over there. All right, so he sent people over there to say, what's up? Who came on to you? Give them up. You got it.
Bring forth the men that are come to thee, which are entered into thine house, for they be come to search out all the country. And the woman took the 2 men and hid them, and said thus, there came men unto me, but I wist not whence they were.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass.
See, and this she's another woman, right? That I mentioned this in one of my lessons that see how they used wisdom back then? See, she wasn't gonna say, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I never saw any two men over here," because they're gonna say you probably colluding with them. Because why would somebody say that they saw them coming? So you mean to tell me somebody said they saw them coming right into your building and you live in this building, but you didn't see anybody coming here? Obviously, you're lying. And if you're lying like that, that means you're trying to hide or protect them. So what she said was, "Yeah, no, I saw it, but I'm not sure where they went." You know, same thing happened in I think in the book of Samuel somewhere where it was Jonathan and forgot the other one's name, but they were the sons of Zadok and Ahimelech. And when they fled, the woman said, "Oh yeah, they came, but they went that way." Meanwhile, she was hiding them in the well. See, so they even shows you that women back then had more common sense in their minds than a lot of people today. You know, they knew that, well, if I throw you off, I'm gonna be off, and they're gonna be off. As to, rather than having you investigate me even more. You got it.
Another example is Abigail, when she used wisdom when David was about to slay Nabal.
Yep.
And she, oh shit, let me go appease his wrath before he come and kill all these niggas over here. So women were using their brains back then. You know,
Yep. Yeah, that dude Nabal, man. Hey, well, they said it, right? I mean, you so bad that even your servants, you could see, you could tell that it wasn't the first time them servants went to Abigail about it. You know, they must have been going through hell left and right. He said, "Man, this guy, oh my gosh, he gonna get us all killed. This thing is so stupid. You can't even talk to the guy." He said, "Please do something," because you know he doesn't even know who he just went and talk shit to. That's David, like Goliath Slayer David. Yeah, that David. She's like, "Oh shit, that David. Oh shit, go start getting the lambs." They said it was like what 80 asses or so. He said, "Hey, load him up. I'll be right behind you."
Doesn't his name mean fool?
Yeah,
His parents named him fool. That should tell you enough right there.
When she went to David, she said, "He is as
yeah, that's his name is. Yeah, because when he was a child, they tried to take him to his mom titty. Nigga went to his dad. So they say, "Nah, this nigga definitely a fool. Hey, call him the ball." You got it, bro.
Verse 5. And it came to pass about the time of the shutting of the gate, when it was dark, that the men went out. Whither the men went, I wot not.
Yeah, so you can imagine, right? Because back then, to get into that the vicinity, because in the ancient world they had walls. Like if you ever seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, it was one of the cities. I think it was the Earth Kingdom called Ba Sing Se, and it had this, like these huge, giant, thick ass walls, and there's only one way in, one way out. They got security all around the world, the walls, and they got the big ass gate. You know, in the daytime it's open for you to come in, but there are guards that are always watching. Okay, who's coming in here? Where are you from? What business you got? So if you really wanted to get it, you got to sneak in like cargo or on the back of somebody's like clothes and stuff or something like that. Okay.
And real quick, that's the same concept. That's how they got the Trojan horse. They did the same thing because they couldn't go in, with their men, so they had to hide in the horse, and then you present it as a present, and then that's they were able to get in there, and then they did what they had to do, came out at night and started slaying them niggas. You got it, bro.
Yep, that's it.
That's why they call this the land of unwalled villages. Anybody could get into New York. No, they don't really check. They're not checking at the bridges. There's no wall here to protect this place. It's like it's just open to attack.
Yeah. Hey, when you said that, it reminded me of this guy, the Madman, right? Madman Mamdani. I had a dream about him last night, and in the dream, there was somebody there with me, and they were saying that, yo, because of this guy, they're basically doing Jade Helm 2015, but like in real life. And they were saying that all this is happening now because of this guy. I remember that in the dream very vividly. He was like, yo, Jade Helm 20. I was like, oh yeah, Jade Helm 20. He was like, yeah, that's him. That's his fault. He's pushing it. This guy came on here talking about, for my campaign, we'll come back to Rahab, but for my campaign, don't send me any money. I'm here to fix the city. I'm here to do X, Y, and Z. They can turn around after getting elected talking about, remember when I told you don't send me any money? Yeah, you can go ahead and start sending the money in now. Yo, yesterday I was watching a clip where they basically had everything he said before and everything he said after, direct contradiction. Oh, the subway is so dangerous. My what was it, his auntie or some shit like that, was afraid to wear a hijab on it. They said his auntie is over there in Pakistan or some Middle Eastern country somewhere. She ain't ever been over here in no subway. What are you talking about? Then they'll ask him, what do you think about prostitution? You know, should that be legalized? No, 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 no. Then they ask him another time. He said, yeah, I consider that to be work. You know, so they should most definitely be allowed to do that. They look at this guy like, yo, what's up with this man? And you know what? You got people that will still look at that. Hey, but his name got Kwame in it though, so let me vote for him. See a nigga like you? See now we see the problem with dudes like you.
Said the thing about violent crime, burglary is all good. You know,
Right.
burglary is not a violent crime.
Mhm. Oh yeah. He said violent criminals, or that is a concept. You know, it's a concept that we can't stand for it. So yes, you know, I'm for defunding the police. But he turns around and talks about how you got to keep the city safe. So who's gonna do that? The old ladies and old men with patrols and Motorola's on their hips. How's that gonna happen? You're not being practical, man. But he said that to get in. And once he's in, yeah, you're gonna find out his true colors.
You said defund the police, but who you gonna get to fight against Trump in the feds?
There you go.
You need them NYPD.
Mhm.
So this guy he's a complete contradiction.
Oh yeah.
Continuing in verse 5, pursue after them quickly, for ye shall overtake them.
So she went the extra mile. She said, oh, yeah. I did see that the two men. Yeah. I did wonder why they look so strange. Yeah, they went that way. Actually, you got to go quick, because if you may, hopefully you can catch him. You know, please keep us all safe. Yeah, women, man.
When you go to verse 4, right at the last end, she said, "But I wist not whence they were." Right, that was basically like plain, like you said, she was using the wisdom of saying, "Oh yeah, they came here, but I don't know where they were from. I thought they were just visitors or some shit. Like I didn't know that they were spies." Right. So, but when the city gates was about to close, they all left. So you just chase after them. You might get them because it wasn't too long ago. Go ahead. So that urgency spirit is like, oh shit, all right, cool, let's go. And that's how she got him off.
Yep. And that's how the scammers get you. They'll tell you, oh, yo, yeah, you got to do this. Yeah, your car warranty has been expired for 3 years. You got to do it immediately. Why are you reaching out for 3 years?
That goes back to when you were talking about in the beginning. Don't be such in a rush because you make
There you
better
go.
little mistakes.
Yep. That's how they get you. Yep. Got it.
Verse 6, but she had brought them up to the roof of the house and hid them with the stalks of flax, which she had laid in order upon the roof.
Yeah, and the roof, in the ancient world, the roof wasn't like today. You know, people think of like a roof as like you never catch somebody on the roof. You know, except they're like a janitor or a super or something like that. You better shut your ass up. A janitor or a super or something like that. And people imagine like a roof could be like them little triangle roofs. Today you have places called like rooftops that people go to, right? In the ancient world, as common as it is to have a rooftop like this, for them it was like how you have a balcony. And then on the side of the building there were like stairs that would lead up to the roof where you could pray, you could chill, you could eat, you could dry out your clothes, you could do all that on the roof. So it wasn't like a strange place to be. Got it.
Didn't leave space unused.
Yeah, exactly.
Verse 7, and the men pursued after them the way to Jordan unto the fords. And as soon as they which pursued after them were gone out, they shut the gate. And before they were laying down, she came up unto them upon the roof. And she said unto the men, I know that the Lord had given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you.
So she said, basically, like, I already know the fact that y'all are here, the Most High is gonna give it to y'all. Y'all gonna take it already. Because guess what? They had heard what had happened over there in Egypt, you know, and they were like, yeah. That once again, heathens are not beyond acknowledging the Most High. They're not beyond acknowledging His power. Because if you show them the power of the Lord, yeah, they're gonna see it. Even Antiochus saw it and believe. But that does not change anything about them or their status. That's where you got people that miss that part. They think that no, the key is if a heathen believes, so long as they believe, they believe, that's the elites believe. Or what's that? The James said that, right? The Satan believes, the devils believe and tremble, right? But so what? What did that do? Oh, because an Edomite believed, he's no longer an Edomite? No. He's still gonna be wicked. It's in his nature, it's in his blood. He just knows and acknowledges if these elites did not believe, why would they go so hard to hide the truth? Why would they be preparing to fight against the Lord if they didn't believe? Yeah, they believe that the Lord is coming back. They believe that he is a so-called dark skin, a black man, so-called black man. They know the things that are in the scriptures are real. Does that mean that they're gonna get salvation just because they believe that it's true? No. So she believed that the Lord was gonna hand over their city into the hand of Israel. But so what? That did not. Here's how the Lord said it. He said principles, right? He said rules. He said laws. He said statutes. And he said, "This is my chosen nation. The rest of these nations are going to be under them, and they're going to serve them." That's it. So if you are of, that's why you can have wicked Israelites, and they're still going to be saved in the kingdom, and they're still going to be at the top of these other nations. The hierarchy never switches. So even if you are the kindest, most sweet heathen, if you're a heathen, you're going to live the lot of a heathen. Now, the Lord can, like in our interactions, right? You did have David and Hiram, and they were cool. You know, so it wasn't like David was like, "Oh, I'll put you, I'm gonna whip your back with whips and shit like that," just because you were heathen. No, but there are certain lines and boundaries that you cannot cross. Yeah, we may be cool. Yeah, we may be chill, but there's certain boundaries that you just can't cross because you're a heathen. Okay, that's just that. You know, it doesn't matter how cool we are. That's the end of the story. And that's what people fail to understand. They, oh, there's a heathen. Oh, say he's anointed. Oh, okay, cool. That means he's welcome in.
This is the same camp. Well, they came from Sakari that said that Yahweh Shai won't be in the temple, but that's only for Levites. But you see how they go from one extreme to the other?
Yeah.
That goes to show you that what they were saying in the beginning was all a facade. Because then they were that hardcore on it, you know, and then all of a sudden, oh, we open up to everybody now.
Yeah.
The fuck? That alone should show you that's an unstable mind. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
Yes, sir.
That's extremely unstable, man. You go from extremes to another. See, the Lord been having us. We've been teaching the same thing. Hasn't changed. Okay. The Lord, we get new information, like we might bring out a new word that we haven't brought out before, or we might get news articles and things like that, or some history. But the doctrine is the same.
Right.
Hasn't changed, and it ain't going to change.
Yeah, guess what? You want to talk about counsel, right? When that when that video came out of that dude who was harassing the brother over there with the fake gun, he had it to his head and all that stuff. When you watch Hakaz's commentary on it, he was basically saying, "Oh, this is why you got to carry a thing on you. You got to carry guns on you." And you know what? He really should have offed him. He should have sent him straight to the spirit world. Now, guess what? It came out that the gun was damn near fake. Didn't even have any bullets in it. So now you don't put you advise somebody that, and they were like, "Yeah, no, I'm gonna just put him out. Yeah, Hakaz said I should do it, so I did it." Now he's dead in the spirit world over a fake gun. Meanwhile, the Lord had it because the brother had faith in the Lord, and the Lord had to handle it a different way. You know, and the lesson was learned, but you know, it wasn't because you may think that, oh, you know, I was just defending myself, so I'm justified. Okay, you may not go to jail, but do you know what especially now in this time, do you know what putting somebody to the spirit world does to your mind? You know, you're not in a time of like chaos where it's, or in the time of war where it's like, okay, it's a part of the way of life. We're not in the ancient world where people are. It wasn't like a, you know, like a traumatizing thing, you know, for somebody that had to come off because that was part of real life. Here, people are so soft. They see an ant and they start breakdancing. They see a roach and they jump higher than Michael Jordan. You know, freaking an old lady jump out her wheelchair and do the fucking whatever she gonna do overseeing a roach. And you think that they're gonna put somebody to death and be able to sleep at night? Of course not. So now you got it on your conscience. That shit haunting you. You're like, yo, man. You see his face every night when you go to sleep. Like, oh shit. Yeah, he'll harass you, but damn, yo, you thinking about it like, damn, yo, you really put somebody out. And that could mess with somebody's conscience. You know, now giving him a couple of blows, you know, you shouldn't have been speaking, now you leaking. After that, you know, you all right. Put some ice on your hand and you go home and you're like, hey, well, he learned his lesson. End the story. You know, so if you listen to these guys, they're gonna lead you down a wrong path. They're gonna lead you right into the center of the earth, like Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. You got it. And they might be doing that. Yeah, it is. They do it. They mid live saying some damnable heresies, and an earthquake just happened, and their freaking roof collapsed on their ass. You better watch out. Don't mess with the Lord. You know, they'll do something theatrical to where when you tell somebody like, yo, yo, you know what happened? You heard what happened to the Hakan and them? I'm just saying, hypothetically, right? I'm just saying, I'm not wishing death upon you. I'm just saying hypothetically. And then you go and tell somebody like, yo, the earth opened up and swallowed them. They're gonna look at you like, what? You got to be joking, right? Hey, the Lord said he's going to do a thing to where even if it were told you, you wouldn't believe it. And that's an example of that. He said, the what? You sure it wasn't like an earthquake or like no. The earth opened up and they were mid live approved again. This time on a red card. Hey, this is the fourth time we've seen the word approved in all caps on a card. Yeah, oil. The we saw it 3 times earlier on a tanker all the way back then in green. And every time the brother mentioned about 2 Timothy about chopping the axe, rightly dividing the word, we see the word approved on the car. It just swings by 3 times. And then just now, boom, we just see that red car. So you better hope the Lord wasn't approving the earth opened up and swallowing your ass.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, it's going, oh shit, what the hell?
Yeah. Ooh.
Yep.
Oh, that's heavy, man. The oil, yeah, and it was oil trucks. Because, around this time of year, people need oil in their houses to heat their house. You
Right.
ain't got that oil, man, you're going to freeze. We got that oil, man.
Yep.
How about Shem Shai got oil amongst the brothers you see here.
Right.
And the brothers that are out there teaching the right doctrine, man. That oil. And it's approved from Yahweh Shem Shai. Not giving a change, man.
You got it.
What is that? Psalm 22. Thou anointest my head with oil in the cup of my in front of my enemy,
Mm-hmm.
in front of the enemy.
The enemy. Yep.
Cup runneth over, man.
Except for Jethro, Rahab, Abimelech, and a few others, the good Edomites.
On one hand, you can name them.
Yeah, yeah.
But we're going to look at those examples and not generations and centuries and thousands of years of oppression from the heathen.
As long as Rahab is there, not on her watch.
Rahab is going to stay the wrath.
Yep. There shall no Amorite go in slavery as long as Rahab is there. Therefore, for Rahab's sake. Got it? Well, Rahab got her consolation because she got her promise. She got her deal. That's all we owed her. That was it. Now, why didn't the scripture say, oh, yeah, and the descendants of Rahab, you got it.
Joshua chapter 2, verse 10. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when he came out of Egypt, and what he did unto the 2 kings of the Amorites that were on the other side of Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom he utterly destroyed. And as soon as we had heard these things, our hearts did melt.
So they got afraid.
Neither did there remain any more courage in any man because of you, for the Lord your God, he is God in heaven above and in earth beneath.
So they saw, and why is that? Because they heard about what happened in Egypt. It was jaw-dropping for a civilization like Egypt to suffer that. And they heard, yeah, that was the God of the Israelites that did it. And then to add on to that, they said, well, then now they're making their way over here. They took down this king, they took down that king, and their God is with them. And they're hearing stories about what happened. And they're like, oh my gosh. So at that point, of course they believe. They say, no, whatever God is with them, that's a power right there. And they knew that that's not their God. Okay, and they'll tell you that, yeah, that your God is the one living God. Go ahead.
I was going to say, just a quick point. People back then were a lot more religious, if you will, for lack of a better word. So if, something like that has happened, like, okay, the Israelites got out of Egypt, that was a story that went out. It wasn't just saying, okay, that just happened over there. To hear about the darkness, the plagues, the water turning to blood and all that, and these people made out there, it's like, yo, how the hell did they get out of there? And then, people back then believed in their God. So it's like, who's the God of these people? And, who's the God of this people? It's like, oh, that's Yahweh. He got them out of there. And he also delivered them from the 2 Amorite kings. So it's like, yo, this God is with these people. We need to watch out because so that news went out there. The same thing like how you hear today with news, how it goes abroad and things like that. Well, things went abroad. You had messengers. It wasn't like just nobody just, okay, just nothing, like you're in your land, you don't hear nothing. And a surprise, we're here to take over Jericho. No, you had messengers going about.
Exciting. Yeah, exciting. Yeah, and it was like a legend, for a period of time. The Lord was like a legend to them, to where they knew him as like there was a God in past times who flooded the whole earth. Whenever they would tell their flood stories, there was a God who flooded the whole entire earth, and so on and so forth. Some call him this. They say that there was this ark. There's actually an ark over there, and he led such and such, and 8 people survived, and so on, and that's where we all come. So that was like a legend, and now they're like, yo, that same God is back. So when they heard,
the legend is back.
Yeah, the legend is back. When they heard about what happened in Egypt, they said, oh, that's the God. That's there was once a legend, and why are you bugging out? Yeah, there was once a God, the God that flooded the whole earth. That's him. He's back. He's the God of these people. And that's what he's doing over there. Oh shit, he's back. Oh my god. You know, they all stressed out and shit. So Rahab and them, they knew.
It's like a superstar. So, oh, that's him.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
him right
Yep,
there.
yep, yep. We found him.
Don't the Chinese have a symbol for 8, which was the amount of souls that were saved from the flood? It's a boat,
Yeah, like yeah.
symbol of 8. Oh, yeah. But they're going to be saved because they got that symbol, right?
Oh yeah. Most that for sure. That man and Eglon, his fat ass, he gonna come back. You know, he get you gonna see Eglon all you can eat buffet on the chariot. You know, you gonna get on their way. Hey, I'm approved. All right, I'm approved. let me alone. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen, man. You got it.
Verse 12. Now therefore I pray you, swear unto me by the Lord, since I have showed you kindness, that ye will also show kindness unto my father's house, and give me a true token.
So, what part of like how does that have anything to do with salvation? How does that have? Why would that even be a point to bring up in trying to make the argument that heathens or the Gentiles can be saved? And that because in Jeremiah it says that all they that devoured us, basically our enemies are going to be devoured. So you jump to Rahab and you say, well, because of this incident here, it proves that she wasn't an enemy to us, so she won't be devoured. The devouring wasn't in that time; it's going to come in the future in the kingdom. Did the Lord not say that if a man does right and then he leaves off and does wrong, all the right that he has done is not going to be remembered? So you think Rahab came back in all her generations in this time when people don't even know their original heritages? You think Rahab is here today doing good? She's been doing good to Israelites all throughout her generations. And, and even if she did do that, it still wouldn't get her on a chariot. Okay? So here what she did was she was a wise woman. And she made a deal, all right, to preserve her and her house. Because she knew what was about to go down. That's why she did it. Because right now you saw her real intentions. He said, look, I saved you, but I'm trying to make a deal with you. If it was just because I believed in your God and out of the kindness of my heart, why would I need a deal? No, she said, I know what you're gonna do, so make sure swear unto me, preserve me and my father's house. And she knew that, well, in the ancient world, you basically when you do a favor for somebody, as it says, you heap coals upon their head. If they don't return it or they return evil upon you, before even physical damage comes to them, their conscience is gonna eat them alive. You know? Go ahead.
Verse 13. And that ye will save alive my father and my mother and my brethren and my sisters and all that they have, and deliver our lives from death.
Mhm.
And the men answered her, our life for yours, if ye utter not this our business.
There you go. So if we're good and you make sure that you don't snitch on us, then like it says, we survive, you're gonna survive. That was a deal that they made with Rahab and her family, and we honored it. That was a deal. That was it. Because what happens, and that's why the Lord was upset at the fact that we went and made a covenant with the Gibeonites before addressing him, because he knew that we would have to honor that. And that's why he said, you went and did this without consulting me, and now you've been deceived. But guess what? You got to honor that because you made a deal in my name. So that's why when Saul went and broke that, hey, there had to be the Lord brought plagues upon Israel for that sake. Well, wait, does that mean the Gibeonites are going to be saved because the Lord was damaging Israel for their sakes? No, it was because Israel was violating an oath.
See, that's why it's good to understand the manners and customs of the ancient world. An example is I can't remember the king, or if he was the king, if his name was Abimelech as well. If it was it Abraham or was it Isaac?
There was a king named the same name in both their times.
I can't remember that one. He wanted to make an oath with I can't remember if it was Abraham or Isaac. And I think that's where the well of sevenfold oaths come from.
Oh. Yeah. Yes, I'll try to remember, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But does that mean that all?
You remember? What's that?
It was Abimelech.
Abimelech. Okay.
No, but which one was it? Was it Abraham or
I
Isaac?
think it was Abraham.
It was Abraham?
Yeah.
Okay. But basically, with that, does that mean that, okay, now, the son of Abimelech, or, because he wanted to make that for his children or his son to be good with Abraham as well? Because he knew what? That the Lord was with Abraham. So he wanted to make a league with him, like, yo, my family is cool with your family, so we can be friends later down the line. So that way, if anything happens, my son or my offspring have somebody that they could have, you know, do business with. That hey, maybe we could get something from you. And even to this day, you still have things like that where families would join together for business purposes. So that way, later down the line, the family could be good. But it doesn't mean that, oh, okay, like you were part of like the family will now and things like that. No.
Right. Got it.
Okay. Verse 15. Then she let them down by a cord through the window, for her house was upon the town wall, and she dwelt upon the wall.
Yeah. And when you keep on going, but you don't have to, we can get the other account with Abimelech. I forgot what this is Jeremiah 39 or so. But when you keep on going, it's gonna tell you that when we did come and take over the land, we spared them because the Israelites gave her a sign. Said hang up this flag, this red colored flag or this white colored flag or something like that on your house by the window, so that when we come, we'll know, okay, that's Rahab's house. Nobody go in there, nobody touch anybody. And they said, make sure that everybody's in here. Because if your family ain't in here, we're not gonna be able to tell, and they're gonna be cooked. So that if that happens, the blood is on you, not on us. Because basically we're gonna instruct our people, hey, if you go in there, you're gonna see a house, it has this sign on it, that's your symbol. Do not touch anybody in that house. That's the only instruction. So if the warriors come in and you're not in the house, how are they gonna know that I'm Rahab's auntie? Well, how do I know you're not making that up? You know, if you Rahab's auntie, then you should have been in the house, shouldn't you? All right, well, you went in the house, that's on you. Bye. You know,
Hey,
and so that's why they told her to do that. Yeah, got it.
quick, that's spiritual that you said that, because when you look at the time of Egypt, during the night of the Passover, the Lord instructed us to what? When we put the blood on the two side posts of the house and then on the top, and that was to signify to the death angel that, oh, this is a house of Jacob. Do not touch it. You know, you pass over it. You see. So when we were going over into Jericho, and we had told Rahab that, hey, you tell yourself and your family to make sure you have that red cloth, all right, on the side of your house. It was also symbolic. Another thing that was red. Okay. It was symbolic to let them know that when we come in, the death angels of Jake, when we come in there, the army, that we're going to pass over your house. Okay. And it's the same concept in Ezekiel, the 9th chapter, when the Lord said he's going to be sending his angels, the death angels, pretty much going to use Esau and so on and so forth. But the spirit of the death angels that he commanded to slay utterly, both young and old, women, children, all that. But then it says, except the men that had the mark, all right, of exemption.
Really
Those men, right, it's more like the house that has the red mark that the death angel is going to pass over. So, like the brothers, from time to time, we always talk about the elect. When the time comes, if you're in the household of a man of the Lord, you automatically got protection, all right, because the Lord is the one who's orchestrating that. So you're going to be protected in them times. But if you happen to be in a household that doesn't have a man of the Lord in there, you're cooked. You and the rest of that whole household is cooked. All right. So that's the same thing. I was just thinking about it through the spirit, like, yo, that mark of exemption is, you know, of course, in Egypt, it was a visual. All right. At the time of Rahab, it was also visual. All right. But this time it's going to be more spiritual. Okay. You're going to know, like, oh, these are the men of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? The Lord's going to have something about us that's going to set us apart from everybody else, and as an indication that we can't be touched. Okay. When the troubles come, the troops come in doing their thing, they're always going some way, somehow exempt, all right, the men of the Lord. All right, because of that protection the Lord is going to have over us and our households, man. All right, but I just wanted to add that in there. You got it, bros.
Read that first, because I remember from the snippet that the Pastor Hart played, they went to that precept, right? Jeremiah 30. Let's read that.
This is book of Jeremiah, chapter 30, and verse 16, and it reads, "Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity, and they that spoil thee shall be spoiled."
So there's the part, right? All thine adversaries. Your adversary means your enemy. So let's prove if these aren't our enemies, and how is it that? Well, you missed the part that says all they that devour thee. So what happened to that? And when the Lord says that, he's talking about the nations. He's not talking about, oh, well, I'm going to find every specific Ishmaelite or Edomite that had a part in devour. No, if they benefited off of our captivity, then they were part of the devourers. So even if they weren't adversaries physically to you, if their nation were part of the devourers, they're going to be devoured. End of story. Because guess what? Even Edomite children back during the Jim Crow era and before then, they were benefiting and devouring our people because we were under them. If we're under you, you were part of those that devoured us. So if you all ask the Lord, oh Lord, well, they did show us kindness. Are they still our enemies? Yes. When the Lord said I would have war with Amalek from generation to generation, he didn't say, oh, only Agag. He said Amalek. Okay, that's that tribe, the whole tribe, from generation to generation. You got it, bro.
To add to your point, it says, miserable are the cities which thy children serve. So that it doesn't say the member, one particular member, this part of the city, the part of the city that afflicted. No, the entire city benefited.
Right.
So the entire city is going to be destroyed and be afflicted. And another example was Pharaoh, the Pharaoh that was cool with Joseph.
Right.
Right? Okay, everything was all good. You know, there was, you know, it was a situation to set up for the salvation of Israel. And then what happened? Generations down the line, they ended up afflicting us. Did the Lord look and say, well, for the goodness that Pharaoh did to Joseph and to Israel, that we're not going to do this Passover, we're not going to destroy the firstborn? No. When the time came and they turned against us, then okay, you're going to get judged. There was no remembrance of the former good that was done, right? Because what happened? They ended up going against us, oppressing us, trying to destroy our firstborn, our male child, right? Our male children that were brought forth, but the Lord delivered us, right? That's why it says, to the firstborn, to he that slayed the firstborn of the Egyptian, for his mercy endureth forever. Where was the mercy for them? If what you guys are saying is right, then the Lord will have to go back and apologize to the Egyptians, because at one point they were doing well to us, and then when time went on, they turned against us. The Lord didn't hold back. That angel of death came, firstborn done, plagues, destruction, Pharaoh and his host drowned. Okay, crushed by the ocean. Okay, so there was no remembrance at that point. So again, you got to look at the big picture. You can't just focus and hone in on one thing. All right, and say, well, we're gonna form a doctrine on this one detail, but not give you the whole context of what's going on.
Hey, well, guess what? Like Apostle Gabar said, right? Israel as a nation went into captivity, but you know, it wasn't every Israelite that was wicked. You know, you got righteous, you got the elect amongst Israel, right? And also, when you look at Babylon today with all the wickedness, it's really being done and spearheaded by the elite. As a matter of fact, you got even Edomites that are victims of these of their own nation, but yet they're also going into captivity. Well, what's up with that? You got Edomites that might end up helping you out in the time of Jacob's trouble, and guess what? The Lord might still come back, and you get beamed up, and they're gonna be right here, and the missile's gonna be waiting for them. You know why? Because you don't know what they might have done in the past life. At the end of the day, humans are still humans, right? And you have a conscience, and sometimes you operate out of the best interest. You might see a heathen, they might be in need, and you might help them. It might be on a job, you know, or it might be whatever the case is, and you might help them out. Okay? They might drop sign, oh yeah, you drop sign, you know, oh thank you, oh I don't know what I would have done without this, right? End the story. Okay, you help them, but does that mean that all of a sudden, you know, you love heathens? So Edomite, he might feel bad, or he might say, somebody might be trying to lie about you. Say, no, I saw what happened. That's not what he did. He didn't do that. He's innocent. He's a good worker. He's always doing good. It was this guy that did it. All of a sudden, that Edomite is righteous. He might be going home. Matter of fact, he might go home and might have a Jake in his basement. You know, painting their lips red and painting them in black paint and having them dance for him every night. He might be doing that, but he might have done a good deed to you. So you're gonna say, oh, he ain't my enemy, Lord, because you don't know his mind. And you don't know what they've done in the past life. The Lord knows that. And that's why he said, these nations are going to go into whatever I put them in.
The Lord said, even the unjust judge, at a certain point, acknowledged our oppression, but he's referred to as unjust.
Yep.
That's who he is. He's unjust. But even the wicked acknowledge certain things. Look at Herod. He acknowledged, no, this man is faultless. It was Herod, right?
Yeah,
Pilate. Pontius Pilate. It was Pontius Pilate said that this man is faultless, right? But does that mean he's going to be good? No. His wife was plagued in dreams because of this man. If he was so righteous, why wouldn't he? He could have cut it off. That's even worse. That he knew this man is faultless, and he let it. All right, fuck it. You know, if he was such a just man, why didn't he cut it off from happening?
Right.
It was the Lord's will. We all know why it happened, but point being, just because a heathen does something on the surface, you got to look. The Lord is looking on the spirit. The Lord is not just looking at surface level. All right, because you guys are out there are surface level Israelites. That's the problem. You don't have the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, because it's that discernment that allows us to look past emotion and be purely logical, right, and purely truthful. Just focus on the facts. Because the thing about Hassad, I know it's a lot. He's always trying to lean into emotion. Would God do that?
Right,
Would
right,
he
right.
feel? How do you feel about? No, bro. Fuck all that emotional shit. Keep it logical, bro. Keep it to the truth and keep it logical.
Yeah, the Most High does what He wants.
Yep.
The scriptures say, "Who has known the mind of God?" So, are you the Lord's spokesperson now? You gonna tell us how the Lord feels? The Lord tells us how He feels based on what He does in the scriptures. The scriptures say that the Lord is known in the judgment in which He executed. So the Lord can say, "Look, shit, I want this heathen. Know what? I'm gonna put a spirit on this heathen to go out of the country so they can end up over here because I want to repay them for the kindness they did to you." That's it. That doesn't mean that He's going to say, "Oh," because the Lord has already given the word that they're not going. There's a certain position they're going to be in. That's it. He's not changing that. Okay. Oh, does that make sense? Why didn't God say, "Hey, you eating with your enemy? You eat with your enemy now"? You ever went to the break room? There's an Edomite sitting right there. You know, they giving out pizza. You hungry? Hey, you know what's up? Man, I saved you one. Hey, thank you, man. Hey, what's going on? Hey, that's Phil right there. Phil always looking out for you. Why didn't the Most High come and whisper in your ear that, "Hey, by the way, psst, psst, you know that's your enemy right there. What are you doing? You know, here it is. You going, you hold the door, and Phil's being, oh, that's Phil. Let me hold the door for him. Or he's holding the door for you. Lord, no, you gotta let him close it, and you open it yourself. That's your enemy. We don't get favors from the enemy, you know, or else that means that he can't be devoured, and I want him to be devoured. So you gotta let him close the door, and you open it back up, and you go in your own door. Why didn't the Lord come and do that? Your logic fails, man, because it ain't sound. Oh, you got it right. Jeremiah.
Jeremiah 30 and 16.
No. We read that one. Let's jump to
Oh, Jeremiah 30.
39.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 39, 4, and it reads, "And it came to pass that when Zedekiah, the king of Judah, saw them and all the men of war, then they fled and went forth out of the city by night."
Now, for context, this was when the Babylonians had at this point they weren't playing games anymore. The Lord put the spirit on them. They came there to basically besiege Jerusalem and broke through. So now they basically had dominion. They say, "Yeah, we got these niggas." And Zedekiah, which was the one on the throne at the time, he was like, "Yeah, it's over. I gotta go." So it says he tried to flee. Go ahead.
By the way of the king's garden,
Mhm.
by the gate betwixt the two walls,
Mhm.
and he went out of the way of the plain.
Now, as we're gonna read now, you can actually jump down to verse jump to 11, because eventually he's gonna mention it is in this chapter. Eventually he's gonna mention the what the Lord said concerning Abimelech, and what he did was he basically went to he was a really a high one in a high position in the court of Zedekiah. Okay, and as it says, he was an Ethiopian. Now, keep in mind that in the Old Testament, most of the time people were referred to by their hometown or where they were born or where they dwelt, more so than by their actual nationality. Because, like Aharon mentioned, you'll see it says Elijah the Tishbite. Why didn't it say Elijah of the tribe of this? It called Elkanah an Ephrathite, but he was a Levite. Why didn't it say Elkanah the Levite or Samuel the Levite? So you'll notice it kept mentioning like I forgot who. It said Jesse of Ephratah, right? The Ephrathite. Why didn't it say Jesse the Judite? Because you had Judah, you had the tribes in their inheritance, but to subcategorize, right? They would add what city they were from, because
Obed Edom.
oftentimes, what happened?
Obed Edom.
Yeah, Obed Edom. Yep, there you go. And oftentimes you had similar names. So how would you differentiate if you got 20 Jesses of Judah? You know, and one is in this part of Judah, one is in that part of Judah, one is in Bethlehem, Judah. Like even Mizpah, right? There were different locations in Israel called Mizpah. So they had to specify Mizpah in Moab, right? Or Jabesh Gilead, you know, or on this side. So they always got to specify. And so it says Abedmelech the Ethiopian, But just as it called Uriah Hittite, Abimelech could have been an Israelite whose hometown or he was born in Ethiopia. Okay, now we're gonna find out. But based on how the Lord spoke about him, you know, he could have been an Israelite. Could have, right? I'm not saying for certain he was, or he could have he could have been a heathen that was just like, yeah, you know what? But I mean, think about it, right? A heathen that's that high in the court of Zedekiah in the king's court. On top of that, it says the Lord said what He said concerning him about him. Well, we'll read it.
Oh, sorry, just a quick point.
Mhm.
The house of Nazareth.
Right.
It says that they know his father and his mother, so they knew that his records he was a Judah. But why is it specified the house of Nazareth?
Right. Mhm.
They're obviously, because that was a common name, it wasn't just tied to him.
Right.
Other people had that same name, so you have to specify. Oh no, this Yahushua, that's the one from Nazareth.
Even Jeremiah himself was from a town that was in the land of Benjamin, but he was a Levite.
Right.
From Anathoth.
Right.
All of those were the descendants of Aaron in that town. And it was known for that. It was famous for that. So you could say he's from Benjamin. He's from the land because he's from that area. But he's a Levite.
Oh, sorry, that's why they even specify sometimes with your father, like Joshua, the son of Nun.
Yeah.
Because there was probably another Joshua there, but we got to specify which one you are. Oh, you're the son of Nun.
You got it. Yeah, you can jump to verse 15. Because from verse 11 on down, in fact, it tells you that Nebuchadnezzar gave. Matter of fact, now read from verse 11.
This is Jeremiah 39:11, and it reads, Now Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, gave charge concerning Jeremiah to
Zaradan.
Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, saying, Take him and look well to him, and do him no harm, but do unto him even as he shall say unto thee.
Hmm?
So Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, sent, and Nebuchadnezzar, Rabsaris, and Nergal,
There goes Sharezah.
Nergal-Sharezer, Rabmag, and all the king of Babylon's princes, even they sent and took Jeremiah out of the court of the prison.
So wait, that means that Nebuchadnezzar wasn't an enemy. But wait, what was he doing to Jerusalem right at this time? So was he an enemy or an ally? Oh, he helped Jeremiah. He was kind to him, but wait, he's destroying and giving orders to slay Israel and take them captive. So which one is it? Go ahead. You can jump to 15 now.
Now the word of the Lord came unto Jeremiah.
And he also said that concerning Baruch. All right. He also said that concerning Baruch. He told Jeremiah, tell Baruch that for the things that he has done, I'm going to give him, as it says, his life shall be a prey unto him. Meaning I'm going to give him his life as a reward for what he has done to serve me. Go ahead.
While he was shut up in the court of the prison, saying, Go and speak to Ebed-Melech.
Read that part again. Verse 15.
Now the word of the Lord came unto Jeremiah while he was shut up in the court of the prison, saying, Go and speak to Ebed-Melech, the Ethiopian, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Behold, I'll bring my words upon the city for evil, and not for good, and they shall be accomplished.
So the Lord is giving you context. I'm gonna the same thing I said I'm gonna do to destroy the city. I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be evil. It's not gonna be good. Go ahead.
In that day before thee, but I will deliver thee in that day, saith the Lord.
I will deliver thee in that day. What day is that? The day when he brings the evil that he set upon the city. Because what other day is that gonna be? Go ahead.
But I will deliver thee in that day, saith the Lord, and thou shalt not be given into the hand of the men of whom thou art afraid.
So who was it that was making them afraid at this? They're in the middle of a siege, right? The enemy is right there, destroying people, taking them captive, and the Lord is speaking this to Ebed-Melech, but he's really referring to the future when he gets up on the chariot. Go ahead.
For I will surely deliver thee, and thou shalt not fall by the sword, but thy life shall be for a prey unto thee, because thou hast put thy trust in me, saith the Lord.
There you go. So now, what does it mean that he put his trust in the Lord? Why would a heathen put their trust in the Lord? For what? You know, but then in any case, that gives you the context as to which the Lord was talking about when he said he was going to deliver him from the men that sought his life. Who were they? The men that he was afraid of. Who were they? Babylonian Empire at the time. What the hell? How is that supporting heathens going to be saved because they believe in Yahushua? Yahushua wasn't even on the scene as Yahushua at this time. So how did what Abimelech do at this point equate to heathens believing in Yahushua and being saved? How does that work? It doesn't. That's the point. It doesn't work. So stop it. Anyway, that was it on that. We're going to wrap it up unless Bless got a quick point. John. All right. John, like you said. You got it. I get it for you.
No, I got it. This is Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 21. My son, fear thou the Lord and the king, and meddle not with them that are given to change. So there are people that's given to change. If I'm not mistaken, Deacon Hakas said once, the word of God is not contained in the Bible, but the word of God is in the Bible. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Then it's now 1 minute you had the stance, and they said that at the beginning, we know that we were hardcore, you know, like the other nations can't be saved, but now you're saying that they can be saved. So it's like you're people that are given to change. You're easily swayed. So you can't trust people like that. You want a person that is solid, right? It talks about having a solid foundation.
Good. This is 1 Timothy 6:3. If any man teach otherwise and consent not to wholesome words, even the words of our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, Yahushua said, go not into the way of the Gentiles. Go into the house of the 12 tribes of Israel.
Well, except for Rahab and Abimelech.
Right, exactly.
And Jethro.
The Lord could set up certain heathens to deliver us. That's what guys don't understand. That doesn't mean that they're gonna get it all now.
Yep.
No, bro, they had a certain role. They played out the role. Okay, and in the kingdom, they're gonna be under us still, regardless. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change the facts.
Oh, well, Cyrus said the Lord told him to build a house onto him. What's that about? That means that the Lord is dealing with him.
He must be a Levite.
He might, right? He just might be, right?
Priest all of a sudden, right? You guys, that works on simple-minded people, man. That works on jakes that don't know nothing, man. All right, but on men that actually know these scriptures, man, that shit ain't gonna pass, man.
So I can just put the point, they're tools for the Lord. That's that instrument that we use.
Yep. Good. And to the doctrine which is according to godliness, he is proud, knowing nothing, but doting about questions and strifes of words, whereof cometh envy, strife, envy, because they see the men that have the whole truth. So now, no, this is our brand of truth. We got to get with this. We're not here to establish ourselves. We're here to praise Yahweh Shem Yahshua, do his work and push that word out, man. We didn't invent it. It was given to us. Okay? You guys want to reinvent the wheel, though, every time. And you land the face full and a pool full of shit every time, man. All right? It says, questions and strifes of words, whereof cometh envy, strife, railings, evil surmisings, perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds, and destitute of the truth, supposing that gain is godliness. From such withdraw thyself. So there it is, man. It says it straight up. These are perverse men, destitute of the truth, corrupt minds, gain is godliness. You know, and they're always trying to sell you something, right? Do you ever see us up here trying to give you merchandise? We'll hop on the website. You know, we got these t-shirts, you know, and you ain't even selling cotton or linen. You selling polyester, straight trash, man. You know? But regardless, whatever it is, we're not selling it. All right? All right? Buy the truth, sell it not. Okay, so we over here to freely we have received, freely give, and teach this word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Withdraw from these men. Don't pay them any mind, okay? And every time they come out with a new false doctrine, they're gonna get spiritually knocked out. Okay?
Yes. So at the end of the day, man, look, it doesn't matter if the heathens were kind to you or not. You know, you deal with people accordingly, but on a grand scheme of things, that doesn't change the order of prophecy or the judgment concerning the nations or concerning the heathens. The role and rank that they're in, they're going to stay in that rank. Yes, in the kingdom, we're going to have taskmasters. Yes, in the kingdom, we're going to have concubines. Yes, in the kingdom, they're going to be those that are going to be directly in the pit. And they're going to be those that are going to be like the house servants. And then, we're going to have all that. But that's not going to be contingent upon whether a heathen believed in Christ, you know, on this side. So Christ said, oh, show him mercy in the kingdom. That's not how it works. The scriptures are lay out plainly what the Lord's judgment is, how it's going to play out. So those examples that you try to bring out, trying to sound deep, they're weak. Okay, and they don't stand the test of anything. They'll come out here over here with that. We're gonna break it down. All right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. You got anything, Run? Cool, cool. So with that, we're gonna end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rachak, Wadash. Until next time, Shalom.